when I first saw the question, why do I want to change, I was in a little different situation. I wasn't thinking about necessarily my felony that got me in trouble, but I was thinking about the time in my life where I knew I had to make a change, and it was sort of the opposite of what I have going now. When I was growing up, I lived in Bond Hill, and if you know Cincinnati, you know Bond Hill has at times had a rougher reputation than others, and it definitely had a worse reputation in the 80s and some of the 90s than it does now. You don't see too much happening on the news about Bond Hill now, but for a while there you did. And those were my friends, unfortunately. Even though I went to Walnut Hills all day, when I came home, I might take a book to the park and study while my friends were still doing what they did to make a living. Waiting on them to get finished so we could go out. Okay, sell out what you got so we can go. Let's go have some fun. Especially in college. Even there, I would just stay there and study. The police might rush the park, and I'm not doing anything. I don't have to run, so police search me. I've just got a book. I'm here studying. I'm just waiting on my friends. And they would finish, and we would go out and hang out for the evening and have fun. And I had three main friends I hung out with, but spent most of my time with. And very rarely did we all do stuff together because they had kids and other things going on where maybe they couldn't hang out, but somebody was always available when I wanted to do something. And even though they went back and forth to jail, they never got locked up at the same time. So it was like, okay, Fred's gone for a year, and then Leon's gone for a year, and Bob is gone for a year, but not the same year. Well, in '93, that changed. Everybody was gone at once. And it really struck me that even though I'd gone to Walnut Hills and knew a lot of people, and even though I went to a nice Episcopal church and my father was a minister and I knew some people, I just didn't hang with any of those people. I didn't really hang out with anybody that was not involved in something that would get them arrested occasionally. And it got kind of lonely. When Friday night came and you get ready to go to a party, you want to go with your friends. And they were all gone. So I knew I needed to make a change. And I saw some guys on campus wearing fraternity gear. Before that, I kind of thought it was sort of an elitist system. My freshman, sophomore years, I really wasn't interested. But my junior year, when all my friends were gone, I was like, maybe this is something I need to try. And maybe this would be okay. Then it was a decision on which fraternity, but eventually I selected Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity as the one I would go through and pledge and try and make some friends that hopefully wouldn't end up in jail. Of course, I ended up being the one to go to jail out of that group eventually, but nobody else did. But I made a bunch of really good friends for life that that kept in touch, that wrote me when I was in prison, that still supported me even when I got out, and gave me some contacts for some job activities. And one of them actually tried to hire me full-time last year, but I was already working here and I wasn't interested in moving to Cleveland. Not just because of the teams and everything else, but I've got my father here in Cincinnati and my friends. I wouldn't want to leave. But it was definitely flattering to know that he was willing to give me another chance and take me out there. And unfortunately, my friends that I mentioned earlier, none of them would have been able to offer me another job or another career. They just were going through life in and of itself. But I didn't abandon those friends. I still hang out with some of them. I get them, but in a different way. I hang out with them through this program especially. Almost all of my friends that I grew up with, that I still associate with, are members of this program if they aren't working. Or if they weren't working, I've been able to help them get jobs and get into another lifestyle. And hopefully they'll stay away from it. A couple of them weren't interested, but the ones that were, I've been able to bring them in. But it was definitely a change for me in terms of what my priorities were, in terms of who I would know, who I would hang out with, and what I would do with myself. Thank you.
Thank you.